Hello, here we are again. Thank you for coming back. Well, it's been a stressful day, another stressful day. I started the week by reporting a hate crime about Waltham Forest Council. I paid several £100s to a solicitor this morning to have a look at my case privately. I contacted the police at lunchtime and reported racial discrimination against the council. I've got an interview for Monday morning on that. It's all a bit, I don't know. And tomorrow's the deadline for me taking my camera down because it's antisocial apparently. That's regardless of the fact I've got autism and anxiety, and I told the council about this and I need to be made safe and secure, and I was assured by the council the place was safe and secure, but no one told me that the other residents would be allowed to prop the doors open or just put the doors on a permanent latch. And when I've asked the council about why there's latches on the door, they won't answer me. And according to that, this is the standard code of conduct for members of the council, including elected and non-elected officials. To act solely in the public interest, to be open about their decisions. When using or authorising the use, this is a good one, when using or authorising the use of resources, ensure that such resources are not used improperly. Well, by improperly, do they mean replacing a new front door with a new front door because I've complained that the seal has been taken off by the resident, and I've said at the time that they should charge the resident to replace the door if the door needs replacing or any repairs, and they've just walked up and gone, well, we'll give you a new door then, even though before the resident moved in they spent 5 weeks in the flat doing the place up, cleaning it out, checking all the fittings and fixtures, and doing the door. So the council are just housing. I can't really blame the whole council. Housing are wasting public funds, and I've been saying this for 2 years now. Housing, at least some of them, it's not just an individual, some of them are racist against white people. I believe, according to what I've seen, it looks like some of the housing officers are racist. But it's very hard to get anyone to listen, because as soon as you play the race card, the council just, before I played the race card, the council wouldn't talk to me. They assigned me, not, we're going to give you a single point of contact. They assigned a single point of contact with no negotiation, no discussion, no limitations. So basically I've had my rights severed by Waltham Forest Council, and they won't even explain under what Act of Parliament or what policy they are removing my rights, and even for what reason, because on the face of it, it looks like because I emailed too many people. I'm sorry, it doesn't say on their website there's a limit on how many people you can email. No one gave me a warning about, well, you emailing a lot of people might put you under this policy. No. I believe it is because I contacted Martin Esom, the Chief Executive Officer of Waltham Forest Council. He got annoyed with me contacting him because he wouldn't reply. And so somewhere down the line he said, get rid of this idiot. Is there nothing we can do to shut him up? I believe. I can't get the evidence, but that's what it feels like to me. Because when I pushed the case that he hasn't replied, he passed my email for a meeting. That's all I wanted, a meeting to discuss things. Outside of housing, because it was a housing issue. I didn't want to discuss a housing issue with housing, because they'd given them a chance, they didn't do anything. So it needed to be dealt with outside of housing, because inside housing it was being ignored. He passed me over to corporate complaints, who then said, oh, you've got a single point of contact, and that's your response for your complaint. Well, that's not a response to a complaint, which is why I raised that up to the Housing Ombudsman. Eventually, when I found out that the Housing Ombudsman was still open, because I was trying the Local Government Ombudsman, because I believe it's a local government issue, not just a housing issue. Because the reason I say I think it's local government is it all comes down to democracy and how governance is carried out and where the oversight is. As far as I can see, there's no oversight. Housing are a law to themselves. So still, at least I've got the police going round on Monday and hopefully Raja tomorrow. I don't know. I had a problem getting through to Ian Duncan Smith's office again today, because at 9:30 all the phone lines get switched over to Goldie Mitchell. Always goes to his voicemail, and I can't get anyone to call me back. So if you want to contact Ian Duncan Smith, do it before 9:30 or after 5 p.m, because that's when the phone lines switch back to Parliament. So basically, Ian Duncan Smith's office in Parliament have been sitting there for months now, enjoying the luxury of not having any phone calls for about 7 hours a day, and not saying a thing to anyone. And when I got through to the switchboard at Parliament Day to try and get through to IT to complain that their phones are wrong and they're preventing people from accessing their parliamentarian, I got told in no distinct manner, we don't put the members of the public through to IT. So how do you complain about the phone system then? He wouldn't tell me that. If I've got a complaint about the phone system, then you have to contact your MP apparently. But if you can't contact your MP because the phone system's broken, if only there was someone around called Liza. So, tomorrow is going to be a mega stressful day, not only because I'll be running out of money fairly quickly, paying a solicitor privately, because civil legal advice, there are no words I can describe civil legal advice. No, tell a lie. Incompetent fools. And that's not strong enough. They have 5 months, they've never contacted me. I've had one email, no phone calls, and every time I've chased them, they've basically said, oh yes, Mr. Gibbons, thank you for calling. We've been waiting on some paperwork. The last time was 2 months they've been waiting. No emails about the paperwork, no phone calls. And these are the people that are supposed to be defending people with disabilities against those infringing them when they're not even looking after the Disabilities Act themselves. It's not encouraging, let's put it that way. So, what else? I don't know. My head is in such a tizzy. I didn't sleep at all last night. I eventually crashed out about 5:30 and woke up about 7 or 8. So I've had about 2.5 hours. But I still look good. If this works, I might make, because this is being done via OBS Studio under Linux. If this works, then I might use OBS more, because then I can put up information and bits that I've seen and things like that. Now I know how the History Debunked fella does it. He's clicking things and basically doing this. So that's how he does it. For months now I've wondered what he was doing, and he's using something, either this or something similar to this. It was nice of Minimalist to actually come on yesterday onto YouTube and apologise for being like 2.5 months behind or something, because there's like 32 days worth of editing still to do, and as they're doing it, they're moving and shooting more film at the same time. They're YouTubers. They don't owe us anything. They might feel they do, but I'm just grateful that there's YouTubers putting the time and effort in. To me, it doesn't matter whether it's in real time or not real time. I mean, I can see their point that it would be nicer if people said, oh, you're going to somewhere, oh, don't forget to look out for this or look out for that. Excuse me. But really, all they need to do is make a note of it for the next, because they have to go past it eventually. They're doing the whole of the canal network, and in some bits they're doing it 3 or 4 times. They've already got the silver propeller, I think it's called. They are visiting basically all canals. I believe Joe's done a couple of maps now, navigation maps, of the canals and navigable riverways that CRT license. I think she's actually including non-CRT sites as well, which is pretty good of her. They're selling it through the Anne-Marie site, the Art by Anne-Marie. Yes, listen to me quoting all these other YouTubers. I do have no life. I really do. Councillor Bellamy has contacted me. She's quite appalled that nothing's happened since last time I spoke to her several months ago. And it's coming to a head, and I'm being threatened with eviction again, and it's making me suicidal again, and housing don't care because I told them that before and they just carried on emailing me, carried on threatening me, carried on putting me over the edge. I don't think housing will be happy until they've either killed me or got me to move. I've yet to be proven wrong by any of this. I mean, what do I have to do? I've got agrophobia thanks to housing. Literally, I have agrophobia developed because of housing. Waltham Forest housing. I didn't have agrophobia in February. I was a bit dubious about going out. I kept checking to see when the block was empty to empty my bins or go and do some shopping. And then I started getting threatened and attacked and abused by my neighbours because I'd reported them for infringing fire regulations, for breaking COVID restrictions, doing all sorts of things, smoking drugs around children, and housing do nothing. But a single white man, easy target, from what I can see. So housing pick on me. There's people on this estate that have been breaking their tenancies for 8 or 9 years. It was in a flash from the local police just recently. And they've not been evicted. I've been here 2 years. I've done nothing wrong apart from help the estate and try to improve the area and ask questions of housing to improve the service. I've actually offered free training to provide. I'm a trainer for customer service people. I can train customer service people blindfold, standing on my head in a dark room with a gale force wind. And yet they've turned down any training. So they get what's coming to them. I've tried to help them. I've tried for 2 years. I've struggled for 2 years. And they have refused all offers by me to help them. That's all I've been trying to do with housing, to help them, to improve the area. They keep complaining that they've got drugs and knives and guns and violence on this estate. And yet the few people that want to help housing are ignored and treated like they're antisocial. I've got an antisocial behaviour record against me because housing have opened one up. Which is ironic because it got opened up because I kept complaining about the antisocial behaviour of my neighbours. But I believe, because I'm the only white fella in this block, and I explained to the victim support unit this afternoon, I hate using the race card because it seems weak and pathetic. And I don't like it when other people use it. And since February, I've refused to even think that there's racism involved. And yet, the more it goes on, the more I can only assume that they are being racist against me. Because non-white members in this building are getting away, not literally with murder, but with breaking fire regulations, with breaking tenancy agreements, with antisocial behaviour. You name it, they've broken it. And yet they're not being sanctioned. I'm the one being sanctioned. And Waltham Forest Council refuse every time I ask them, why are they treating me different? They refuse to answer. Most of my emails are ignored still. Most of my complaints are ignored. I had contact with Waltham Forest Council at 16:24 last night. I was on another important call because of what Waltham Forest Council are doing to me. Couldn't answer the call. Don't know who it was. No voicemail. I've turned my voicemail off anyway because Waltham Forest Council used to make me sick when they left voicemails. They never give you the name. They'd only half know why they were calling. And they wouldn't tell you what department or what extension to call back on. So it was useless. It was making me worse. So I've turned my voicemail off months ago now. But you'd think that good customer service practice would be, I couldn't get him on the phone. Let's send him an email or send him a text to let him know that we've been trying to call him. No. Housing want to gather as much information as they can to prove that I've not been cooperative. So instead of them trying their best to contact me, they try their least. They do not follow the Equality Act 2010 when they're contacting me. They have no regards for disability at all, despite what their policies say. I'm afraid that I'm not the only one in Waltham Forest being mistreated like this. Anyone that puts their head above the parapet and asks the question why, or anyone with any sorts of disability needs, I believe are being discriminated against. Unless you're in the favoured clique, whatever it is at the time in housing, or your drinking buddies with housing, like one of my residences, then, well, it totally goes against the general standards of contact. Let's put it that way. I've got counsellors that are friends with people in my block on Facebook. That's not allowed in the general standards of contact. Or conduct, rather. I've got people that work on the estate that are friends with drug users on the estate that are making my life hell. That's not allowed in the general code of conduct. And every time I've always said, you know, why are you letting this drug user in? I've always been told, well, he's another resident, he's allowed to... No, hello. If you know he's a drug user, that doesn't mean you ignore his drugs. If he comes to a Christmas party, for instance, and he smells of drugs, then you ask him to go home. Or they'll contact the police. That's what they should do, according to the Code of Conduct. Not just turn a blind eye. It doesn't say turn a blind eye if you think there's, you know, law breaking going on. It doesn't say turn a blind eye. You have to be a good, honourable, upright citizen. And if you believe there's malpractice or law breaking going on, it's your duty and responsibility to do something about it. Turning a blind eye is against the policy. I've tried putting complaints in. I have tried pushing for gross misconduct charges against several people in housing. The last time was because cleaners, estate cleaners, refused to carry out instructions from a senior officer. That is gross misconduct. No action was taken. So, he says, looking down at his watch, oh, I think I've been going on for a bit too long. It's only supposed to be a 10-minute bit, but it's turned into a 25-minute rant. Sorry about that. Hopefully tomorrow is a better day. Better than I expect, anyway. Thank you for watching. Speak to you again soon.